Hello and welcome to the School Counseling Life channel where we dive into the world of school counseling. I'm your host, Mr. Jones. Today I cover 5 tips to assist you in the FAFSA process. For those of you unsure what the FAFSA is, it stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. And depending on if you qualify, you can receive free money for college. I'm not going to lie to you, this is one of the lengthiest parts in applying for college, but you have the chance to receive extra money for college. So sit back, relax, and let's begin. My first tip in successfully completing the FAFSA is to make sure you have the correct materials in front of you. When you're going to start this process for the 2019-2020 school year, you are going to need your parent or guardian's 2017 tax returns if you are a dependent student. Now, are you unsure if you're a dependent student or not? You can look up the dependency status on FAFSA's website. If you're a dependent student, you will report your and your parents' information. If you are an independent student, you will report your own information, and if you're married, your spouse's. So that's how to tell if you're a dependent student or not, and I'll put a link in the description below. Second tip is for you to have your social security number ready because you will need it when creating your FSA ID. This is question 8 on the FAFSA, and I always make sure to remind students to have it because you cannot submit the FAFSA without it. If you do not have a social security number but believed to be an eligible non-U.S. citizen, FAFSA has a webpage called studentaid.gov/non-citizen that you can check out to see if you are still able to qualify for the FAFSA. Once you have both of these items, you are ready to start filling out the FAFSA. My third tip is to be able to answer any and all questions while you are filling out the FAFSA. And you might be like, Mr. Jones, how do I know? How do I know which questions? What if I'm freaking out, Mr. Jones? Well, don't worry. We got this. Because in this tip, we're going to be looking at 2 different resources. The first resource is we're going to Google FAFSA questions guide, just in case you haven't. And the first 2 resources that do come up is Nitro College and the 2019-2020 completing the FAFSA form. So let's check out Nitro College. And on this website, if you scroll down, it's going to go through the entire FAFSA process with you. So step 1, student information. Step 2, student financial information. Step 3, student status. Step 4, parent information. Step 5, student household information. And then step 6 and 7 is send, sign, and date. So they make it very simple. They break it down into all the questions. And as you can see, there are 108 questions. So definitely check out one of these resources. And then if we're going to look at the other resource, this is the 2019-2020 completing the FAFSA form. And they give you an overview of what's going to be inside this form. And it breaks it down into every question. So if we keep scrolling all the way down, keep scrolling. And question number 1, your last name. Question 2, your first name, and so on and so forth. So definitely check out these resources. They're going to be in the description below. And that covers tip number 3. My fourth tip that I found to be very helpful is that FAFSA gives you the ability to link your parents' tax returns from the IRS to save you a lot of time inputting that information in the parent information section right here. Now, if you're an independent student or you're going to a graduate program like I had to do, you're going to have to go into step 2 here, and it's in step 2 where you do your own information. And remember, if you get stuck on one of these questions, refer back to tip number 3. Use these resources. Use Nitro College or use this 2019-2020 form that will dive into each question and let you have a better idea of what you're answering to make sure that you fill out everything as correctly as possible. My 5th tip is to have a pen and paper before you start filling out the FAFSA. This will help you write down your FSA ID, username, and password, as well as your save key in case you have to save the FAFSA and continue at another time. This makes sure that you don't forget your username or password, and definitely to have a backup because if you have to go in your email, reset your password, we all know how frustrating that can be. I always suggest putting aside at least 2 hours in your day to really fill out this FAFSA and make sure you get everything correct. The FAFSA can take a long time to complete. I also suggest making sure to eat food and hydrate before starting it. Remember to get all the materials you need before you begin. This will save you time. The nice part is that once you fill it out, you'll be able to use a lot of the information that you filled out from the previous year the next year when you have to fill it out again in your second year of college. Now let's recap. Tip 1, 2017 tax returns. For filling out the FAFSA for the 2019-2020 school year, you will need your parent or guardian's 2017 tax information. Tip 2, know your social security number. Make sure you have that with you so you can fill out your FSA ID. Tip number 3, use those 2 resources, Nitro College and the completing the FAFSA guide from the FAFSA's website. Tip number 4, linking your tax returns to IRS. When you get to those questions, definitely going to save you time. And tip number 5, bring a pen and paper. Write down your username and password so that way you can save it and remember it, and that way you don't have to recover it. And that's going to be it for this video. If you have any questions or comments about this video or ideas of a video you would like to see in the future, please let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you and have a wonderful week.